Hey, I need some help with my story. I always have a story, and I posted something yesterday and said I always have a story. And a lot of people encourage me to keep telling my story. I mean, we all have one, and I'm thankful, grateful, or whatever that people want to hear mine. And so I was gonna back it up. I told my whole complete story after my husband passed away in 2019. Like every Sunday I would sit down and I would just do a chapter. And people seem to really enjoy that. So even though I've told my story, I know a lot of people either have unfriended me. A lot of people have unfriended me since then. I don't know why. And then I have a lot of new friends and a lot of new people following me and a lot of people who don't know my story. And if you heard my story, then you don't have to, listen again. But I've never actually told it like talking. So I was trying to figure out how I could do that. I usually come on live on Wednesdays when I'm getting ready for work and I do my makeup, and it's just easy for me to talk while I'm doing something because I get really nervous. And I'm really nervous about doing this. But if I do it live, it's gonna get erased or deleted in 30 days. So I don't know if I record it, it'll be too long for me to post. So I don't know if anybody has a suggestion of how I could do something. And I figure if I do this while I'm putting on my makeup, then it's gonna keep me from talking for too long. And but it's gonna be, a reel can only be 90 seconds. And you can't post, I haven't figured out how to post anything longer. So if anybody has an idea for me, I would really appreciate that. I'm not super tech savvy, but if it's something simple, I might be able to figure it out. Otherwise, I guess they'll just disappear, and that makes me a little bit sad because it would be kind of fun for me to have on my feed, my personal, profile, to have it. So let me know if you have a suggestion. Like I said, I was nervous to start this today. April is kind of a try and hold it together. April's kind of a hard month for me because it's my husband's birthday and it's my wedding anniversary. So it just stirs up a lot of stuff. April and October. October is the month when he died. So I'm not gonna cry through this. I'm not gonna come on here every Wednesday and cry through it, but it's just, this time of year, just a lot of stuff. So anyways, I always tell you what's going on. I have a business coach right now, and I'm learning so much about business and running my business, but I'm learning so much about life, how to have conversations, how to, all kinds of things. But anyways, one thing in one of the first weeks that we learned, and I try to share this with people all the time, is action brings confidence. It's not the other way around. Confidence doesn't, bring action. And so even in my business with my makeup, and I have these new beauty guides, and think they're not ready to go live or ready to talk to customers or whatever. And I just try to make sure they understand that action is what is going to bring you confidence. You don't have to be ready. So today I sat here before I pushed, play or whatever it is when you go live. I'm like, oh my God, I don't know if I can do this, but I thought I just need to do it, and we'll see. So if it's well received, I will keep doing it. When I was doing it in writing, it took me almost 3 years. So I'm not going to do this every week for 3 years. And I don't know how much I'll get through doing my makeup. And I probably won't do all of the little chapters that I wrote because some of them, I think, embarrassed my kids. Some of them embarrassed me too. It was pretty, I mean, I was in a little bit of a funk or a little bit of a fog, obviously. And I just told it all, the good, the bad, the ugly, the embarrassing, the whatever. And people seemed to really like it. And they told me I should make it into a book, which maybe I'll do one day. I don't know, but I'll say it again. I mean, everybody has a story. I don't know why mine seems more interesting. But I'm going to share it again. So I'm going to go way back and start in 1984-ish. 85 maybe. So I'm not sure what month it was. But anyways, I was living in Southern California. That's where I was born and raised. So I was probably 22. And I really had never really had a boyfriend. And I very rarely went on dates. And I was content. But my mom was thinking, you know, like, gosh, I wish she would meet somebody. And where I lived, in the San Gabriel Valley, there wasn't a big Jewish population out there. And of course, my mom wanted me to meet a nice Jewish boy. I didn't really care either way. I wasn't really thinking about marriage or whatever. But she asked my cousins who lived in the San Fernando Valley, which there was a lot more of a Jewish population out there, just if they knew anybody, keep their eyes open kind of a thing, in case they found somebody for me. And that was that. So my cousins had a recording studio out in the valley, and they had a friend named Steve who was doing some music video stuff, and they had worked together and they had become friends. And they told me, or maybe they told my mom about their friend Steve at some point. So a friend of mine and I used to love, there was a band we used to go hear play called Jack Mack and the Heart Attack. And they were going to be at a club in Hollywood, like on Sunset Boulevard, which isn't usually where we hung out. But that was closer to where my cousins were. And so I had told them about this band. They were so good. And of course, my cousins are musicians and had a recording studio. So they, you know, love music. And I had told them maybe sometime they could go hear this band because they were so much fun. I let my cousins know that my friend and I were going to be going to this place in Hollywood. If they wanted to meet, that would be really great. They showed up and Steve was with them. They introduced us. Oh, hey, I introduced them all to my friend and they introduced us to Steve or whatever. And I'm like, oh, yeah, you know, nice to meet you, whatever. I didn't know that they brought him like to meet me. I just thought they brought him to hear the band. So I really didn't give him the time of day or pay any attention. And my friend and I bebopped off to go dance and enjoy the night, which we did. And that was the end of it. Well, several months later, every so often, I used to go out to my cousin's studio and give them haircuts. And we would go to lunch, spend some time together. Wasn't very often, maybe, I don't know, every 6 months or so. They had long hair. And they didn't get it cut very often. But anyway, so I took the day. They were about an hour's drive away from where I lived. So I went out there, and Steve was there. And he asked me if I would cut his hair too while I was doing haircuts. And I'm like, oh yeah, sure. And I thought, oh yeah, wait a second. I think I met you that night at that club, you know, in Hollywood or whatever. Oh yeah. And so that was it. I gave him a haircut, cut my cousin's hair. We all went out to lunch. And had a nice day. And then I went home. And again, I didn't think anything of it. So that night, I think it was that night, Steve called. I lived at home with my mom. And so he called and I was so surprised. He's like, hey, this is Steve, you know, met you at the studio today, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, oh yeah. And he asked me if I wanted to go out on a date, which I didn't. I'm like, oh my gosh, what do I say? But of course, I'm like, oh, okay. I had zero experience with guys or relationships. I didn't know how to, you know, communicate, talk, whatever. So I'm like, okay. And then I'm thinking, oh my gosh, why did I say yes? So I think I told my mom. And anyways, so we made a date for that weekend, Saturday night. So he was going to drive out to me, which, like I said, was at least an hour because he lived out by where my cousins were. And we made plans. We were going to go to dinner. And Jack Mack and the Heart Attack was at the Sunset Club in Sierra Madre. That was Sierra Madre's where the salon was that I worked at. It was right up the street. And so a lot of times we would go after work. And that was how I even heard of this band in the first place. So it was super convenient that they happened to be playing that night. So he came out, introduced him to my mom, and then we went and had dinner. We went to TGI Fridays, and then we went to see Jack Mack and the Heart Attack, and we went dancing, and it was fun. And he was nice, but he clearly wasn't my type because, like I said, I never had a boyfriend. I had zero experience. So obviously I had no idea what my type was, or at least what I thought was my type was not my type, or maybe I would have, you know, had found somebody. But I thought, okay, you know, this is fun, having a good time. He's a nice guy, but whatever. So we went home, back to my mom's house. And we just sat and we were talking. And I thought, Anyways, so he kissed me, and then, and that was nice. But then Mom came out, like, oh, hey. And she's like, oh, did you guys have fun or whatever? And so she came out to talk to us, and that was fine, and that was the end of it. And then he left and he went home. And so I told Mom that I had a nice time, but that was it. I mean, I didn't know if I'd ever see him again. And that was fine with me. And she's like, why? You know, he's cute. He has such pretty blue eyes, and he's Jewish. And I'm like, I'm getting confused. I didn't put eyeliner on. And, you know, I do sell skincare and makeup. If you like how my skin looks, or if I use anything that you're interested in, don't hesitate to ask me about it. But, you know, that's not why I'm here right now. So anyways, I forgot where I left off. Yeah. Squirrel. Anyways, yes, I said, you know, he's not my type. Yeah. Oh yeah. And Mom really liked him and thought he was great. So the next day was Sunday. I remember this perfectly. I went to the gym. So even back then I was still going to the gym. And I got home and my mom said, oh, Steve called while you were gone. And I thought, already? He called me already? We just went out last night. And he just wanted to let you know that what a nice time he had. And I thought, oh, and for some reason, although that was probably like a really nice thing, it kind of made me feel like, oh, he's coming on too strong. He called me already, like the next day. And I'm not even sure if I called him back. But he did call me back again at some point, and we talked, and he lived so far away, at least an hour's drive on the freeway, and so you never know how traffic's going to be. But we had lots of long phone conversations. And that's something, of course, you know, the kids today, I don't know if they really talk on the phone. They might have a long text conversation. But we had some long phone conversations. And it was really nice. Shortly after that, after our first date, my cousin, one of the ones who introduced us, his son was having his first birthday party. And so, of course, we were invited, my mom and I. And, of course, we were going. And apparently Steve was invited, and he was going. And I thought, okay, this is going to be weird, but here we go. So we drive out there, and I'm pretty sure we got there before he did, maybe. I don't know. All I know is that either when he got there or I got there, he came over to me to say hello, and he kissed me on my cheek, and I about died. I was mortified in front of my whole family. I'm like, oh my gosh, seriously? And everybody kind of looked. And I was like, oh my gosh. I was super embarrassed, which is ridiculous now. But if you ever get mascara on your skin, take a spoolie when it's dry, and you can just kind of dust it off a little bit so that you don't mess up your makeup. Anyway, so we're at this birthday party, and I was trying not to pay too much attention. But I was trying not to be rude as well. And apparently, Steve and my cousin were making a little business transaction, or they already had made a business transaction. Steve was buying my cousin's car, and as collateral, he was giving my cousin this ring to hold on to. He had been engaged, and he had this really pretty diamond ring that he had given this gal, and then they broke up, and he got the ring back. The diamond was his grandma's, and so it was sentimental. And I mean, I guess that's what you do. If you break up, you give the ring back, I would think. Never broke up with anybody before, but I'm back. Anyways, so all of a sudden this ring starts circulating in the room with all the people, because somebody, you know, is like, oh, he got the ring. He was giving it to my cousin. You hold on to this until the car's paid off. And he like held it up, and it was some, I don't know. And so my cousin, Lori, who is the one, the sister of my cousins who introduced me and Steve. So she was there. And she's like, oh my gosh, let me see that ring. And so she has the ring, and she puts it on, and she's like, oh, Wendy, wow, you know, if you play your cards right, maybe this ring will be yours one day. I'm like, oh my gosh, we went on one date. But anyways, it is mine. And I didn't get it, you know, till a few years later. But that's all I'm going to tell you for today. So that was how we met. It was not anything exciting, and it certainly wasn't love at first sight. I started this video saying if anybody has any knowledge of how I can do these without it just being alive, because it'll get deleted in 30 days, give me some ideas. And if you want me to keep going and keep telling the story, let me know as well, because it makes me really nervous to come on here and start talking personal stuff with all these people that I don't know. But I'm easily encouraged. So have a great day. See you next week.